much for checking it out. I appreciate you. Of course, I'm on Rumble and YouTube. If you prefer one of those platforms over one another, that's your choice. Trying to share to many places. Today's topic is Ken O'Keefe. You probably know him. I've got a video I'm going to play of his, one video I'm going to play of his, and then I've got some other ideas to share with you about the financial warfare that we're currently experiencing. As I dig deeper into what's happening in the world, it does appear that the financial warfare game is the game that they are playing that is the most insidious, right? I mean, we know we're being attacked psychologically, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and also financially, right? Financial is how they enslave humanity the most, right? I often think about the animal world and how savage the animal world really is. The human world, the human realm, the human part of the world is just as savage, but it's more sophisticated, right? It's a more sophisticated type of savagery, and it is done with the beast system, with the money system. This is why many people are very aware and looking at what's potentially on the horizon with central bank digital currencies and palm scanners and biometric stuff. I mean, it's all bullshit. We don't need any of it. But they will say you need this in order to keep yourself safe. Like, we need to give you this in order to keep you safe. This is what happened after 9/11 with the Patriot Act, with the Department of Homeland Security. We need to keep you safer. It's all bullshit. It's always been bullshit, right? I believe it's all a rich man's trick. I believe it's a Hegelian dialectic. I believe it's problem, reaction, solution. The solution is they want more money, power, and control over us. They want to be able to tell us what to do, when to do it, how to do it, right? What to buy, where we can go, how we can be, how we can exist in this world. And if that's their end goal, that's the solution, then they're going to create a problem that makes people react in such a way that primes them so that they will readily accept the solution. It's total and complete bullshit. It always has been. Many people are waking up. The question is, will enough people wake up in time to save humanity, to remain free? Because as we move further down the road, you do not want to give the worst criminals on the planet, and you know who they are, more money, power, and control over you. Because eventually, and I tell people this all the time, if they haven't come for you yet, they will come for you. There's no question, right? They will come for you. So let me read this. Let me read this quote, and then we'll play Ken O'Keefe's video. This quote here is on the back of it's the back cover of a book called The Money to Control. And the subtitle is How the Elite Conspire Against You. Deconstructing America. It's this by Tom Paine, P-A-N-E. But this back of this book, let me just read the whole back of it. I think it's all good. The Money to Control examines how elites use their control of industries and capital investment to conspire against the average citizen in order to transfer wealth from working and middle-class pockets into the bank accounts of the ultra-rich. This is exactly what Julian Assange was talking about when he was talking about the fact that these wars are not about winning. They're not about spreading democracy. They're not about ensuring freedom in other countries. They're about enriching the people who really run the world. This is what happened in Libya. This is what is happening in Ukraine. It's a power struggle, and human beings, citizens of the world, are caught up in the power struggle. And believe me, they use the people that control the world, the money lenders of this world have sophisticated ways and means, propaganda machines that are designed to get people to go along with it, right? And if people don't look beneath the surface, they may think, oh yeah, this is good. If you even peel back the surface a little bit, you'll see it's all complete and total bullshit. And it is all about transferring that wealth from working class, working middle class, and lower class, and all the classes except that 1% at the top into the bank accounts of the ultra rich. Let me continue with the back of this book. This book is the second part in a series entitled Deconstructing America, which attempts to explain in a relatively easy to understand way how the ultra rich use their vast power and resources to manipulate the general population into supporting their beliefs and interests. The series will look at different aspects of how power is used to control people, all within the framework of the founding and development of the United States of America, to illustrate its arguments, supports, and conclusions. This ties in with what the Great Taking is all about as well. David Rogers Webb. It's already happened twice in America, right? They have the government on our behalf that we didn't ask them to do. The government on our behalf told us, hey, we need to save the financial industry because they've made risky and bad investments and they lost a lot of money. We need to bail them out for our own benefit. This also happened when the Federal Reserve was created in the first place. I don't know as much about that. I know very little. It was created, the Federal Reserve Act was created, written in Jekyll Island by bankers, just like all the acts all the bills are created now by influential political action committees and people of power and special interest groups, and they're given to representatives and say, go pass this shit. It's bullshit. It's always has been bullshit. So the Federal Reserve Act was created in 1913, put into law in 1913, and under the guise of this will make more stable. This will make the economy more stable. It's always lies. Everything is a rich man's trick and everything is a lie that they do, because who's running the world? It's always going to benefit them. It's never going to benefit the quote unquote little guy. I don't use that in the traditional way, but the other guy, right? Federal Reserve Act clearly did not solve the problem, because we have these massive boom and bust systems, and there is coming, I'm firmly believe in this, there is coming a bust that will probably bust the whole system, right? There's no question it's going to bust the whole system. And there won't be the Federal Reserve, the government will not have the ability to drop a wall in and protect people from the disaster, the coming collapse that is coming. This is what David Rogers Webb talks about in his documentary, The Great Taking. And if that happens, let's hope it doesn't. The word is spreading very quickly. If that happens, what will happen is the system will be a collapsing system. It will collapse, and their plan is they've already adjusted the Uniform Commercial Code in all 50 states. They've planned to essentially sweep the board of assets, and including stocks, bonds, physical assets, real estate, etc., and take all that. And if people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that, I tell them they've already done that before. In 2008, again, we the people bailed out the financial system via the federal government. We wrote a debt note. We didn't have the money. We wrote a debt note, added debt to the national debt, and bailed out the financial system. And so they get a win-win. They get all the money from the risky investments they made over the course till they crashed it. And then the people bailed them out. It's bullshit. That happened in 2008. I think it happened a little bit in early 2000s and maybe a little bit in 2012. It happens all the time. You know, this is also tied into whenever your federal government says, hey, we need to buy this thing from these industries, from these corporations. You may remember in 2021 or 2020, federal government said, hey, we need to buy this thing from these people. You know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's going to cost you billions of dollars and it'll solve this problem. It was complete and total bullshit. It's always bullshit. It's always a transfer of wealth from the middle class and lower class into the 1%. It just is what it is. This is what wars are about. It is what pandemics are about, and people buy the bullshit. It's crazy. Let's listen to this video from James O'Keefe. Let me get it queued up here. It's really good, talking about the financial system. I'm going to try to play it in such a way where both YouTube and Rumble can see it here.
If there was one physical subject, one material subject that we should focus on, in my opinion, it is very clear that the head of the snake is the financial system. The whole point of finance is to indebt, otherwise to enslave. What is a mortgage? I mean, what does that stand for? It's a death grip. So when you get a mortgage, you have a death grip held over you because you are in debt. You don't even own the house. The bank owns the house that loaned you the money to buy the house, unless you're fortunate enough to have all the money to buy it outright. And even then, you can be taxed by the government. And if you fail to keep up with those taxes, the government can then take it from you. The whole system is based on a financial fraud, which effectively takes the power that we have and it gives it to a tiny group of individuals who are running the world through the control of finance. With the infinite supply of money that we have allowed them to take, they have literally an infinite supply of money. And with that money, and from their psychopathic point of view, they have bought everything and everyone who can be bought. So those of us who cannot be bought because we operate on a level that goes way beyond the material, we are not rewarded for such behavior. We are punished for such behavior. And the most slovenly, disgustingly criminal, pedophilia, corrupt moral individuals, those are the ones that are rewarded in this system, which is upside down. We reward the pedophiles, we reward the corrupt, we reward the liars, we reward the people with no morals at all.
So there you have it. He's spot on, and this is why it's so dangerous and why it was pretty concerning to some people in the world that we gave more money to the most criminal corporations on the planet, and I'm referring to Big Pharma. Anyone who knows them knows that for decades, the Department of Justice has fined them billions of dollars, all of them, all the companies in Big Pharma. Department of Justice has fined them billions of dollars for making fraudulent and misleading claims about their products. Anyone who knows Big Pharma knows that knows what happened with the Vioxx epidemic. They knows what happened with the opioid epidemic. And it just so happens that Big Pharma also created a solution to the opioid epidemic. It's called naproxen, naxaproxene. I can't remember if it's naxaproxene or naproxene. Ads for that are all over buses in my hometown, or in the town that I live in, and maybe in the town you live in. You can't turn on the television or even on YouTube without seeing advertisements for pharma companies, any of their products, right? And we all know their products never solve the problem. They only mask the solutions and allow people to keep living the lifestyle. It's a disservice to humanity, quite frankly. I'm not saying that some people haven't maybe benefited from those products, but if it doesn't solve the problem and allows people to keep living in a way that is out of alignment with nature and with how the body needs to be, food and diet and exercise, it's not a good thing, right? It encourages bad behavior. But the thing of it is that, like I said, those companies are the worst on the planet. And then when you see your federal government taking tax dollars that we don't even have, putting it on the national debt to give them more money, those of us who are paying attention and who know who they are, know what those companies are, right? You will know them by their fruits. They're not good people. They're very bad seeds. You know they're going to use that money to do more bad things, and they are using that money to do bad things. The same thing when you give the money to the military-industrial complex, right? You feed that beast, and then what do they want? They want more money eventually. That's why all these wars are popping off. That's why, they're going to get what they want. Right? They're going to get what they want. The military-industrial complex is so influential and rich that they're going to get what they want. And the people will just have to go along for the ride because we've created a monster. It's just as much my fault as it is anyone's fault, right? I take the blame because I didn't really know what was going on for many years. I didn't understand it. But when you finally understand it, you're like, oh shit, this is a huge freaking problem. This is a 50,000-foot alligator, right? It's no longer a tiny beast. And now it's going to be trouble to pull the money from the hands of those people. And also, the financial warfare is what happens when Larry Fink, BlackRock CEO, says, hey, we will change behavior by rewarding and or punishing the CEOs of certain companies if they don't do certain things. That's a problem because they're dictating how humanity should behave and what we should think and what we should do. It's the same thing that happened during the pandemic, and the federal government was telling doctors what they should do. That's the reverse. It should go backwards. See, government should be used, and Peter McCullough talked about this. Government should be used to give out information that is coming from boots on the ground. Like the doctors, the people at the GOV, they're not working directly with patients. Doctors working directly with patients. This is where you have frontline doctors talking about what's working, but it never got pushed back because the GOV had an agenda, right? They're working to, again, enrich certain people, certain companies. So they never did want to hear from doctors that had better results with certain treatment modalities and et cetera. They didn't care about that because they were pushing an agenda. And so when you have like the CEO of BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street, the big three, investing money in companies that are willing to push their agenda, right, are willing to do things that will create the social and cultural change that they want to bring about in the world, they're going to get rewarded. And if you're a CEO and you don't do that, you're going to be punished. We're right at the brink, and I hope people are waking up, because I don't think it's fully dawned on people the extreme situation that we are in this world right now. It's sketchy, but if people will remember, they're always going to try to use money to manipulate and control you. And they will use politicians to do that. This is why many people believe, myself included, this is why you're not seeing politicians being responsive to you. And I don't think they ever have been. It's just more people are waking up now because of the situation that's developing in the world. It's getting so bad and so weird. Politicians don't work for us. They work for the people who give them the money, right? This is why many people see a problem in Israel. They're like, why are so many civilians being killed in Gaza? Why does it appear like genocide is happening? Why are so many kids being pulled from the rubble? Why the thing? And then you get Republicans and Democrats both supporting whatever Israel wants to do, right? Because they're backed by the biggest money in the world, right? And so they're never going to be responsive to people, and people are waking up to it. Let's talk about some solutions. We know what the problem is. Let's talk about some solutions. The solutions that I like to offer are this. To the degree possible, get out of the beast financial system to the degree possible, for two reasons. One, you're more easily manipulated if you're in part of the system. Two, is that system is coming down. We know the dollar is going to crash. It's just a matter of when. The more tied into that people are, the worse. You buy out of the financial system, like David Rogers Webb talks about in The Great Taking. And again, you got to make your own decisions. I'm not a financial person. You do what is right for you and research whatever I say. Don't take this shit. Be careful with this. This isn't a game. But like he said in The Great Taking, you don't want to have debt when the financial system is going to collapse. And so he recommends paying off as much debt as you can, right? And getting more free, because even when you look back at the Great Depression, the people that fared the best were the ones that had the least amount of debt. Because if the financial system collapses and there is basically not a lot of money being exchanged, and right now, as that is the velocity of money, as the financial system collapses, the velocity, which is the exchange of money in the system, will go to pretty much zero, right? And it already is, based on that documentary, The Great Taking, it already is lower than it was during the Great Depression. So we're already in the problem. I think the media and the government just has a way to try to paint the rosy picture, and the fact that the Federal Reserve is giving the illusion that the money system is healthy when it's not, by creating more money out of thin air. We're kind of on the last breath, so to speak. If you have debt and there's not a lot of money being exchanged and not a lot of means to, make that money, if a system is collapsed, that's a huge problem. And that's why he says get rid of as much debt as you can going into this thing, because if the shit collapses and you're holding a bunch of debt, you still are liable for that debt and people's ability to make money. This is what happened during the Great Depression. A lot of people were looking for ways to make money, right? They needed it. Just get rid of as many liabilities as possible. Get to essentially buy yourself out of the financial system, which is a complete shit show at this point. And I think it's only going to get worse. Once the banks start to fall, it could get real ugly. And I don't know when that's going to happen or how it's going to look like, but we know it's going to happen. Many people have been talking about it. So that's one of the things. become as self-reliant as possible, build, little ecosystems within your community as far as sharing goods and services and resources. That's another good way to do it. Learn skills, valuable skills, so that you can go into the marketplace if it does become a barter type system, and still have value, tools, things like that are going to be beneficial in the worlds that when the money system collapses. That's my 2 cents on it. That's it. That's what I want to share with you today. I appreciate you hanging out with me for this live stream. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd love to have you as a subscriber, not only here on YouTube, but also on my Instagram or anywhere on social media at gmarkphillips. I share different things in different places. And I think I'll wrap it up at that time. Until next time, I appreciate you and wish you all the best health, wealth, and success. Have an awesome day.